Hello, good evening, and welcome to episode number 45 of the Below the Yellow Line podcast. I'm your host, Joe Andy Pavlon. Alongside with me, I have my colleagues, Justin Hebert and Daniel Ford, tonight for episode 44 of the Below the Yellow Line podcast. NASCAR is back this weekend. The offseason is over. But
Finally, the off season is finally over. Super Bowl is done.
Congratulations to Kansas City and their fans on winning the Super Bowl. Let's get that out of the way.
How about those Chiefs?
But also, this is a conspiracy. Podcast 44. Natalie Decker is going to drive that truck in 2020. And this is podcast 44.
Wow. Does that mean we're going to see something special from Natalie Decker in 2020?
Hey, next week, the podcast previewing the truck race is podcast 44.
Or Rod Chastain winning the truck race at Daytona.
But Ty Majeski, we're basically previewing Ty Majeski's season next podcast, podcast 45.
That makes sense.
Yep.
All right, let's get started on what took place this past weekend. We had the Liqui Moly Bathurst 12 hours that took place over this weekend. And let's just get started on that. So this race was basically had a lot of contenders that we seen in this race. The drivers, teams, and the top 10 shootout was won by Matt Campbell, Absolute Racing Porsche. He won the Alan Simonson Trophy. But in this race, what we did not see was a top 10 shootout participant win this race. The first man out, it was Jules Gounon, number 7 in the 11th spot, and the number Team M Sport Bentley Continental GT3 number 7. Driven by a young man from South Africa by the name of Jordan Pepper, Maxime Soulet, and a French driver named Jules Gounon. They drove that car to an unbelievable extent. We did not see this car
dominant performance coming out of Team Bentley.
Yeah.
They pull off a Cinderella story that we did not expect to see. It was great. Congratulations to them. They beat the number 60 Team 59 Racing McLaren, which had a good late race charge. Third place was my prediction, the number 888 Motorsports Race Engineering Mercedes. Then fourth place was the number 911 Absolute Racing Porsche, and fifth place in the AGT3 Pro class was the number 77 Black Falcon Mercedes, which they've won before in 2018. So they just didn't really come to life as we expected them. And then the AGT3 Silver class winner went to the number 59 Team 59 Racing McLaren with drivers Fraser Ross, Dominic Story, and Martin Kodrich. They drove a McLaren 720S GT3. They finished 8th overall, and the top 5 in that class, the number 46 Black Falcon Mercedes, the number 159 Garage 59 Aston Martin, the number 29 Lamborghini Trofeo, and the number 96 Hobson GWR Nissan. As for the AGT3 Pro Am class, congratulations to the number 4 Grove Racing Porsche team, driven by Benjamin Barker, Brenton Grove, and Stephen Grove. They finished 10th overall, and they finished one lap ahead of their competitors. So second place is the number 12 EBM NED Racing Team Porsche. Third place was the number 9 Hallmark Racing Audi. Fourth place was the number 75 Sun Energy 1 Mercedes. Fifth place was the number 188 Garage 59 Aston Martin. And sixth place, because there were only 6 cars in that class, was the number 777 Race Engineering Mercedes. As for the I Invitational class, the winner was the number 91 Scandia Racing by Racer Engineering Ford Mustang Mark II V8. Brock Feeney, Aaron Cameron, and Nick Percat behind the wheel of that car. They finished 15th overall. They finished ahead of their three competitors, the number 20 T2 Racing Ford, the number 95 GJ Motorsport Ford, and the number 92 Scandia Racing Ford. And for the CGT4 class, there were only two competitors in there. It went to the number 13 RHC Jorgensen Storm, BMW M4 GT4. The drivers were Darren Eric Jorgensen, Brett Strom, and Denny von Jorgen.
Yep.
Denny Van Dongen. That's his name. My
Yep.
bad. They finished over the number 19 Corp with Multimatic Motorsports Mercedes AMG GT4. And basically 22nd, 23rd overall. It was just a two-car class. So there you have it. Let's talk about the race. What were your takeaways, Justin?
It was interesting, and I did not expect Bentley to do that good compared to the other cars. My pick, the number 1 Earl Bamber Motorsport car, finished 2 laps behind. I thought they were gonna get. They started in 5th. I thought they were gonna stay up there. Nope, they fell back to 13th. Finished 2 laps down because the Earl Bamber made a mistake by going off the track. And
It's very easy to do that at Bathurst.
yep.
Yeah. I think the biggest takeaway from me was that no one was ever expecting the dominant performance out of Bentley. But also, what was really unfortunate was our motorsports having mechanical failures that cost them the race.
Yeah.
Because they spent most of their time in the garage.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what caused them.
Yeah, that's right. Even though they came back to finish 16th overall, which is very impressive. They only finished 6 laps down despite spending all that garage time. The drivers, of course, was Jake Dennis, Rick Kelly, and Scott Dixon, the Aston Martin number 76. So they definitely had some takeaways, and they'll run some other endurance races, I'm sure.
I wonder, did they actually beat their other teammate, the number 62, our motorsports car? I don't know where the
62 withdrew from the race.
Yeah.
What? They did? I thought they.
Yeah, they crashed out in Q2.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
A lot of cars had issues and did not start the race.
You're on mute, Joseph.
All right, how about now?
You're good now.
You're good now.
But I was going to say, we got Austin joining. Welcome, Austin, to the stream.
Hello,
So back to Bathurst here. The 777, they crashed out in Q1. Or the 777 888 car, they crashed out in Q1. The Hubbard, of course, number 27 Ferrari crashed out in practice 5. And the KCMG number 35 Nissan crashed out in practice 1.
Oh. But
So basically, the last 6 spots did not even start the race.
I was kind of angry that Gart Tander's car, what car was it? The 22. The 22 car crashed early in the race. There was contact and that spun the 22 into
Right,
the wall.
that had a great lineup because you have Mirko Ortolati and Christopher Mies, 2 factory Audi drivers that would have brought that car to a great finish.
And Gart Tander.
Yeah.
Yeah, they wrecked. Also, remember the 188 car actually crashed too. The other Garage 59.
Yes, that was they brought the first safety car.
Yeah, they crashed hard.
On lap 37 of the race.
Yeah, they really hit the wall.
It was a big hit going into that right hand corner.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was scary.
Yeah, I'm glad that I'm glad the driver that was driving at the time was okay, and also people that didn't know there was kangaroos on the track.
Yes, kangaroo actually hauled to the first practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was very unexpected to see kangaroos on the track. I'm glad there weren't any out during the race. That would have caused red flags and all that good.
Yeah, because kangaroos are not slow.
Yeah, they're pretty quick.
Like because we
and dangerous. So
we see NASCAR officials have a hard time catching a rabbit, like at some tracks, like at Bristol or a fox at Pocono. But you're talking about a kangaroo that's more faster than a rabbit. So there, yeah, I'm
But
glad that I'm glad the kangaroos left the racetrack and then it was good.
so I'm just looking around here. I think my pick finished third. It was, of course, the Triple Eight,
Well,
number 888
well,
Mercedes with Shane Giesberger and Jimmy Wincup and Max Goetz. They finished third in the class and overall.
well, my pick finished 13th overall. The number one. They started fifth. I'm like, oh, they're gonna win. Finishes 2 laps down and 13th. I'm like, oh, I was not too happy. Plus that mistake that Earl Bamber made. You know the after you know the long straightaway, not the front straight. You know that long straightaway. Then you have the left right hander thing. You
Mm-hmm.
know, right there, that left hander where you're supposed to brake. That's where Earl Bamber made his mistake. Locked up the brakes, went off the
me
track.
going into the chase.
Yep. He
Yeah,
messed.
That's a
That's
tough place in the track.
yeah.
yeah. It's not easy. People say video games, but video games is not real life.
You gotta
Yeah.
lean that car to the right side and you go all out.
Yeah.
It's not a place to pass if you think
Yeah,
about it.
never try to pass there. It's not gonna end well. Probably end with two cars spinning. And
Or
get
the least, the best place I think you should pass is going out of Forest Elbow, going
yeah,
onto Conrad Straight.
yeah. That's a good place, and we've seen a lot of passes in those corners, including turn one. We've seen people make good moves going the first turn, and yeah. So some corners don't try to dare and make a move because you never know, it could end badly. But
Right,
that
and I think there was a lot of taking away from this. You can learn from endurance racing,
yeah,
even from starting the race in the dark. The drivers have a lot of challenges that they got to face in this event. It's a very unique race.
yeah. Like the first hour was under the dark over there, but because it was for us, like here in North America, it was regular sun. Them it was dark, but then them it ended in the daylight. Us it ended nighttime.
All right, so let's go ahead and talk about uh, probably the main event of this podcast. Oh, actually, not just yet. We'll get into there later. But let's talk about some Monster Energy Supercross. We did have round 5 of the 17 race tour in Oakland, California,
Yep.
which Eli Tomac prevailed in his Kawasaki over Cooper Webb in the KTM. Ken Roxon in the Honda finished third, despite leading most of the race. Adam
Yeah.
Cianciarulo in the Kawasaki finished fourth, and Jason Anderson in Husqvarna finished fifth. And the standings look like this. Ken Roxon has a 3-point lead over Eli Tomac, so 113 points over 110. And then 98 points claimed is Justin Barsha in third. Jason Anderson is fourth, 96 points claimed, and Cooper Webb is fifth with 95 points claimed. Their next race is this weekend in San Diego, California for round 6 of 17. Now let's get into this weekend. We're going to talk about Daytona as NASCAR is back. Speed Weeks is
Yeah,
here.
baby.
Woot! So we'll talk
Yay.
about the Daytona 500, which of course is round 1 of the 36 race Cup Series Tour,
But don't
as
forget
well
about the
as the
clash.
Clash.
The
The Clash, and of course, we'll get more into the Daytona 500 later. We'll also highlight the ARCA Daytona 200, which
Yep.
is this weekend as well. It's a highlight race, so why not bring a discussion into that as well in this podcast? We're going to get into Daytona 500, pole qualifying,
Yep.
as well as previewing what to expect for in the duels. Of course, we need the qualifying for the duels to know what's going on. So the least we can do is talk about the entry list and the projected entry list that's been posted. There's many different versions of it. I made one myself. It's not an official sheet yet. We're probably going to get one by the end of the week.
Yeah, usually it's about Tuesday or Wednesday. That's when NASCAR releases.
Expected in a few days
Yep.
by NASCAR. So let's just get started into the Busch Clash at Daytona. It's an exhibition race that includes pole winners, and we will get into the 20 car entry list in a minute. But let's talk about some history of the race. So the first race was ran back in 1979,
Yeah.
won by Buddy Baker, and the winner from last year was Jimmy Johnson. So who has the most wins in the Busch Clash? Dale Earnhardt with 6, and then
Wow.
4 drivers have 3 victories at the Clash: Dale Jarrett, Tony Stewart, Kevin Harvick, and Denny Hamlin. And these drivers have 2 wins apiece: Neil Bonnet, Ken Schrader, Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Jimmy Johnson. For most wins by manufacturer at Daytona in the Clash, Chevrolet with 21 blistering victories over Ford with 9. Toyota has 4, and Oldsmobile, Buick, and Pontiac have 2 apiece. Most wins for a team is actually in a 2-way tie with 2 active teams. Richard Childress Racing and Joe Gibbs Racing have 8 each. While Hendrick Motorsports, if they win, they can make a 3-way tie on the most wins by a team list with 7
Yes.
wins. They added to that list last year. Team Penske has 4 wins. They won 2017 and 2018 as well as 1998 and 2011. Robert Yates Racing has 3 wins, and Junior Johnson with 2. So here is the list of participants in the Clash. There are 2 questionable drivers, but what we do know, there are 20 entries. Number 1, Kurt Busch. Number 2, Brad Keselowski. Number 3, Austin Dillon. Number 4, Kevin Harvick. Then you have Ryan Newman, Chase Elliott, Eric Almirola, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Clint Bowyer, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., Eric Jones, Joey Logano, William Byron, Kyle Larson, Jimmy Johnson, Alex Bowman, Daniel Suarez, and Daniel Hemrick. Now, note Daniel Hemrick is to be determined because he does not have a ride or anything, and Daniel Suarez might not even race, as Gaunt Brothers have made a statement saying that they're more focused on the Daytona 500. They are an underfunded team.
And also about Gaunt, remember, they don't have a charter, so they have to race in the 500.
We'll get into that a little bit later when we talk about the 500.
But just saying,
That's if someone gives up their seat to let them race.
Joseph was saying about the 41 for Suarez. Get the 41 for that one race and put Suarez in.
Right, because Cole Custer doesn't have a pole. He's not in the race. They could just bring Suarez for one last race and then have him in the 96 for the future. That's just my idea. I'm sure contracts and all that, they probably wouldn't like the idea.
Also I was saying.
And what's his name? What team does Suarez go drive for again?
God Brothers.
God Brothers.
Yeah, the 96 car.
And those guys are chartered with Stuart Haas, right?
No, they don't have a charter. Like they don't
have none at all.
I know.
Damn. That's hard.
That Toyota 96. That's the only full-time car with no charter. That's the only full-time.
And I don't even think they're going to race full-time, just knowing their sponsorship issues, unless Daniel Suarez can find the fundings.
I know Coca-Cola.
What there is there.
Coca-Cola.
Yes, they endorse them.
Coca-Cola, Gaunt Brothers, and Toyota are 3 sponsors so far. But
we'll have to see.
But also about...
And are they factory supported by Toyota? That's another good question.
Also, you were saying about Denny Hamlin. I didn't know he had 4 wins, but in the Clash, I know he has 2 Daytona 500 wins, but I didn't know he won 4 Clashes.
Denny Hamlin has done something in the Clash that no other driver has won.
In his rookie season?
Yes. And by the way, he only won 3 times.
Oh, but 3's still better than... I thought Dale Jr. had more than... I thought Hamlin had 2, but 3?
Dale Jr. only has 2. So Denny Hamlin won in 2006 Hamlin as a rookie, 2014 and 2016.
Yeah, because 2017 he could have won, but
he almost won.
He came down on Brad, and that gave Joe Logano a little win in the 22 car.
And then Brad came back to win it himself in 2018. I think if you look back at it, the Clash is really just a throwaway race for the pole winners. It's a 20-car event. You don't usually get a big number because you don't know how many different pole winners there'll be in a year. Yeah. And add to the number of former winners of the race, and Daytona 500 pole winners. So they add to the list. In total, we get 20. Also, so it's going to be a fun one.
Also, playoff drivers.
Them too. All
So
right.
sorry, Ian. Sorry.
Yep.
I like how you squeeze that in.
But Austin Dillon got in legitimately, not just because he got in because of his polls. He had 3 polls. That's how he got in. 3 polls is good
Big
when you
balls for
win
arm
three.
number 3. Let's go ahead and talk about our predictions. Who do you think of these 20 entries will win the Bush Clash?
Wait, I was also about to say that for
Jimmy Johnson.
people that don't know, the Clash is not. There's no qualifying in the Clash. There's only one practice for the
They
Clash
draw
in
for
December
poll, right?
at 6:30
Yeah, they
Eastern.
draw for Paul.
Yeah, last year was Paul Menard, and Paul Menard
He
dominated them.
almost won the race.
And we all know what happened at the end.
Well,
That
hey,
was pretty close.
well, Paul Menard's gonna kick out
A
Ryan
win's a
Blaney.
win.
No,
Remember now.
no, Paul Menard's gonna kick Ryan Blaney out, get in the 12 car, and win the race.
Oh, okay, that's a Utopia style win
But
there.
no, Penske wouldn't
But
allow
what?
that.
Yeah, what I wanted to say, I think Keselowski, I think Penske could win again with Keselowski or Blaney.
Oh, okay. Keselowski,
I'm
Blaney.
shocked you said that.
Yeah, Keselowski and Blaney, they are good at restrictor plates. Blaney won at
Hopefully they
Talladega.
won't use any team waters.
Yep.
Hopefully nobody flips over. Don't want to. I don't want to see Talladega
And
2010.
on top of that, I'm not trying to see what happened in 2018 with Jimmy wrecking again.
Yeah, every
Oh,
year.
let's go and take a
Joseph's on mute again.
Dude, you're mute again, man.
Joseph, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Dude, you're on mute. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We have some
Jonas being a
technical
weird person right
difficulties.
now.
You're on mute, Joseph. What is wrong?
Marty, please come back. Thank you.
You're on mute. Armani, please.
Armani,
Please,
we
if you're
should have.
watching this, please come back. We miss you, man.
Okay, is my mic working?
Yes,
No.
dude, what happened? You're on mute the whole time.
You were starting to talk, and you were on mute. You're not realizing.
Reminds me of Cliff
Oh, he's
Boyer
on
at
mute
Sonoma.
again. He's on mute again. Okay, now
Hold
you're.
on.
Here we go again, guys.
Sorry, people, you're not. If you're seeing this, you're not drunk.
I
It's
swear.
real.
Every time I hear you now.
Who?
My mic
About
is.
time, man.
Your
Now
mic
you're
is.
laggy.
I need to get a new mic.
Your
Yes.
Every time I say that, I just never act on it.
Your mic's like, nope, I don't want to work.
No, I don't want Joe to talk.
Yeah, basically that's what.
Anyways, what back to what you were
So I
saying,
was gonna
Joseph?
say, like, is there a definitive driver you can just pick to win the Clash? Do you rely on former winners?
Yeah.
Make
Yeah,
your prediction.
I kind of do because it shows their skill and what they could do at the track. There's no definitive driver. I usually just rely on like former winners, just because I know in my gut that they could do it again.
Right, and I have a really interesting prediction myself. He almost won the Clash in 2017, even though he wasn't really part of the mix that involved the battle for the win, but involved with a three-way battle for second. He was the man between Kyle Busch and Danica Patrick crossing the line. He was the man that replaced Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's Alex Bowman. I think
Oh
he's
yeah,
Clash. You'll be surprised.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alex Bowman. Wow.
I know. I could have just went with Brad and Joey. Ryan Blaney made this easy on myself. No, I'm going to take the bold prediction of Alex Bowman. When he performs under pressure, he never cracks.
Yeah, that's true.
My pick.
Yeah.
Okay, got my pick, but this driver.
Let me guess. Is it Bowman?
Nope. This driver. He won this race before
What year?
2012.
Yes, I know indeed who you're talking about.
Kyle Busch.
Yup. The
Kyle Busch.
driver that I hate the most, I pick him because I feel like he's he won in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
He was close last year until he got caught him. The big one, I think, this year, Kyle Busch will win the Clash.
I see that happening.
And
All right, who do you guys have? Danny and Austin.
I'm gonna have to go with Keselowski because with Team Penske and their restricted plate track program, those guys, those fours are absolutely dominant. Okay, you seen what happened in 2018, which is kind of unfortunate. With you know, as Austin would say, Team Waters once again prevail, but
Yep.
I don't think it might happen again. But I just feel that Keselowski will be the one prevailing in victory lane.
He's just great in restrictor plates, even if it's not Talladega.
Yeah.
he's good at Daytona also.
He won the 400-mile race in 2016. All right, Austin, it's up to you now. Who do you pick?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I had trouble hearing you. What specifically you were talking about?
Your
Yeah,
prediction.
you were not on
Five.
mute, right? You were not on mute. My prediction is I'm gonna go with a guy who's gonna retiring, gonna go back to back, and I don't care if he wrecks anyone or not. Jimmy Johnson.
I can see that happening whether he wrecks the field or not.
Yeah.
Don't
Well,
start, Joseph. Don't
Hey,
start.
He's won it twice.
Yeah, he can win
2005.
it.
well.
Hopefully he can win it again, but I'm gonna have to stick with my pick, Keselowski, man.
I'm still sticking with Kyle Busch because remember his amazing save in 2012 and 2014?
Twice.
Yeah, 2012.
Save and win.
2012 was impressive when he saved it twice.
He did it. He actually spun before the last restart and came back in the last restart, mainly because there was hardly anyone left. But
But remember, and Jeff Gordon flipped over. People still yelled at Kyle Busch even if Gordon's the one that hit. People blame Kyle Busch. All the Gordon fans were saying about bashing Kyle Busch, but Gordon's the one that
he
flipped.
shut them up by winning
Yeah,
Yep.
baby.
that very next restart. It was a good race, I tell you.
He edged out Tony Stewart for the win.
Oh yeah, Tony was he
Tony
edged
was
out
close.
Stewart. In fact, we're gonna get into I gotta be honest, like this is when racing is really good.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Championship points on the line. It's just the plain
It's
beginning.
just all out,
Yeah.
giving it everything you got, sending it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's also only 70. It's only a 75 lap event, so it's not your typical. It's only 75 laps. It's not even. It's 15 laps longer than the dual races, which are 60 laps, but 75 laps. But one thing I know, it's longer than. It's not longer than the ARCA race. No, ARCA's 80 laps, so that's. But it's
200
only-
miles, so it's basically a 195-mile race.
Yeah,
Hopefully, I won't see any single line formations.
I don't think because it's not.
Usually, we see around the smaller teams, we'll probably do that. But I mean, like I said, these aren't their Daytona 500 cars. Most of the guys that race in the shootout, they race a car
Yeah.
that's not going to be used in the Daytona 500 for reasons to go competitive.
Like
But some of the less sure-funded teams, if Gaunt Brothers would put Dennis Suarez in, they will probably use their Daytona 500 car because they're low in funding.
But-
So we'll have
Yeah,
to see on that.
like you were saying about that, Joseph. Like last year, Chase Elliott ran a Mountain Dew car in the Clash. In the 500, he ran a Napa car. Like most of the teams did that. Like Harvick ran the black car, the black Bush car, like that paint scheme.
Yeah, you might see some special paint scheme as well.
Like Alex Bowman, he'll run two different cars, but it's still Valvoline on both cars. But he's running two different cars.
Right. Okay, let's get into the next point of this race. So let's talk about the Daytona 500 qualifying. So
Oh,
Daytona 500, of course, unlike most NASCAR events, have a special qualifying form that tells the starting lineup for the race. So on Sunday, this upcoming Sunday, we have pole qualifying. And then the Thursday of that week, we have the twin 150s, the blue green RV tools. Used to be known as the Gatorade duels for many years. So the twin 150s.
Yep.
And then the starting lineup in the front row are determined off Sunday, while Thursday has the duels. And then you have your starting lineup set for the Daytona 500.
And the people that DNQ.
Right. So basically, it's not just the fight for starting positions, but it's also the fight to get into the race. It's a very competitive event.
Yeah, man.
The first race of the duels determines the inside lane. So odd positions that you score for the qualifying will be in duel 1.
1, 3, 5, 7, 9.
Yeah, odd number positions. Even number positions will be on duel 2.
Which is 2, 4, 6.
Right.
Et cetera,
but positions 1 and 2 have their positions locked for the 500.
Like example last year, Alex Bowman started second, William Byron were on the pole. Even when they didn't finish first in the duels, they fell back. Because some people, like, example, Alex Bowman, remember when he won the pole in 2018? Remember, he fell into the back to not damage the car, which is a smart idea, because he already had the pole in 2018. That's a good thing. When you start on the pole, you don't need to, but, like, some people could get caught up in...
Yeah, you want to preserve your car.
But Martin Truex Jr. 2014, he was going to start second. Remember he got caught up in the wreck with...
What was that?
Remember Martin Truex Jr. in 2014, he would have started second in the race in the 500.
Yeah.
But remember Jimmy Johnson and McMurray made contact off forward. Truex was involved, had to go in the back because of... he got into... That's the thing. You want to preserve your car.
But also, you don't want to give up on the tools, too. You would like to get to know your car.
Yeah, but you don't.
But you have so many practice sessions. What, you understand what I mean?
Like you only have
Yes.
only have 2 practice sessions before the duels.
That's plenty of track time.
Practice 3 is then you have 2 practice on Friday, and then 1 practice on Saturday.
You got plenty of time to flirt with your car.
But you also don't want to crash too in the duels to lose your position, start in the back. That's one thing you don't want to do.
Or even worse, lose your car.
Oh, that's Danica. Remember Danica? How many cars she had in 2015?
Right.
Oh.
She had to start in that. Half of the grid in the Daytona 500 in 2015 had to start in the rear.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. Let's get into the history of the pole qualifying for the Daytona 500. So the first year, of course, was 1959. Bob Welburn won the pole that year. Of course, Lee Petty would go on to win that race. And last year, 2019, William Byron won the pole. Denny Hamlin would go on to win the race. So 2 drivers have the most pole. Actually, 3 drivers have the most poles for Daytona 500 with 4. Buddy Baker, Cale Yarborough, and Richard. I almost said Richard Elliott.
Bill Elliott.
I
was going to say Richard Elliott.
He's not even in this list.
Name.
I don't know who. Maybe there'll be Chase Elliott's son, Richard Elliott, confirmed.
Fireball Roberts, Ken Schrader, Dale Jarrett have 3 poles each. Then Donnie Allison, Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, and Chase Elliott have 2 poles each. Here are the list of drivers that won from the pole at the Daytona 500. Fireball Roberts was the first to do so in 1962. Richard Petty won from the pole in 1966. Twice for Cale Yarborough, 1968 and 1984. Buddy Baker won the pole and the Daytona 500 in 1980, 1985, and 1987. Bill Elliott won the pole. I said it right this time. And Jeff Gordon won from the pole in 1999. 2000, 20 years ago was the last time a pole sitter won in the Daytona 500 with Dale Jarrett.
Yep. Yes, Joseph, you're a time traveler. It's confirmed because you said Richard Elliott.
You can be anywhere and can still win.
He might.
Yeah.
That's
You
the
can be
point.
dead
Austin.
last. You can still
That's
win.
the point. And in a restrictor plate race, you don't really need to worry too much
Well,
when you got these cars in the pack.
except if you lose the draft.
That's
If
the
you're-
only worry you need to avoid is losing the draft or causing an incident.
Yeah, because we've
Stay in
seen.
the blob of cars, you'll be fine.
Yeah, but like, also, but some people are too aggressive half the times. I mean,
Aggressive goes around. You'll
Or-
remember that quote.
but like people sometimes are way too aggressive. I've noticed at plate tracks. Like, trying to think
Good
of
notice of some of the incidents that we've seen with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Could see some impatience there.
Eric Jones getting loose in front of the field, even if he could have saved the car, he just turned and then it caused mayhem.
Right, it caused a lot of mayhem there. Or the Magda Benedetto turn 3 last year, getting
With
in
Paul Menard.
Paul Menard,
And,
causing the massive melee.
Brian
It
Scott.
happens. How about
If Brian Scott was in the field, maybe it would happen more. I don't know.
I don't know why you brought Brian Scott into this.
Or Tanner
2018. 2018, remember, we had going in the last restart, or before the last restart, we had Ryan Blaney and Kurt Busch getting together,
Yeah.
causing a massive wreck. It happens mostly late in the race, and that's how it should be, but you got to be careful early in the race, too, because you don't want to make a mistake in the early stages of the race.
Remember early in the race last year, Kurt Busch spun out, and Bubba got involved because Tyler Reddick was on the brakes. Bubba brake checked in front of him. Bubba got hit by Tyler Reddick, and Bubba Reddick, Bubba Wallace was so mad saying that Tyler Reddick, he's too young for this series. He doesn't.
Well, he's going to be
belong.
racing full time with Bubba now.
But it's fun. But I almost said Bubba Reddick. Oh my gosh.
Listen, I said Richard Elliott like 10 minutes ago.
Well, I told you, you're a time traveler. That's gonna be Chase Elliott's son, Richard Elliott. But like,
My goodness.
also, so yeah, you don't. So yeah, poll. Check out qualifying on Sunday, basically right before the clash. And people are probably gonna say single car qualifying sucks. If you saw 2015.
That was a mess. That was an absolute mess.
Remember
Yeah.
Clint Boyer and Reed Sorensen crashing, collected Hamlin, Yaley, and Bobby Labonte. So yeah, that's why there's no group qualifying restrictor plates.
All right, let's get
Not
into the Daytona 500 entry list now. We'll go into these drivers one by one and talk about them now. So I'm taking this list off J-Ski right now. We have 44 entrants as we speak. It's not the definitive entry list, but it's the best list we have right now. So starting with 00, we have Quentin Houff. He's a rookie for Starcom Racing. Kurt Busch, number 1. Of course, he won the Daytona 500 in 2017. He's now driving for Chip Ganassi Racing. He won the Daytona 500 driving for Gene Haas. Brad Keselowski is probably one of the best drivers who still hasn't won the Daytona 500. He's driving for Penske, number 2 car. Then, of course, the winner from 2 years ago, Austin Dillon, the number 3 for Richard Childress Racing. Then the 2007 winner, speaking of RCR, he won it for RCR. Kevin Harvick, driving for Stewart Haas Racing. Ryan Newman is another former winner of the Daytona 500. He won in 2008 for Penske. Currently driving number 6 for Roush Fenway Racing. Last year and 2018's Xfinity Series champion, 2015 Daytona 250 winner, Tyler Reddick for RCR.
Number 8.
He'll be a season rookie, but not a rookie for the Daytona 500.
Yeah, he ran last year.
Right. Chase Elliott, a 2-time pole winner of the Daytona 500. And then, of course, number 10, Eric Almirola, driving in a car that won pole for the 500 with Danica Patrick in 2013. And Eric Almirola almost won the race in 2018 in his debut for the team.
Yep.
He's going to be under a microscope at Daytona ever since that race, driving for Stewart Haas Racing. Denny Hamlin, Tokyo Racing, a 2-time winner of the Daytona 500, including last year and 2016, which had the closest finish in record. Then, of course, Ryan Blaney, the dominant car from the 2018 race. Moving on down to Ty Dillon and Germain Racing. He has an unknown future beyond 2020, possibly moving to a management role at RCR. But for now, he is still driving for Germain Racing in an RCR equipped number 13. Clint Boyer has come close many times, including 2010,
Yep.
driving number 14 for Stuart Haas Racing.
And
Rookie Brendan Poole for Premium Motorsports.
the number 15.
And another rookie, number 16, Justin Haley for Colleague Racing. Justin
Was-
Haley, of course, won for Spire Motorsports in extremely rare upset circumstances in the Coke Zero 400 last July. But this time, he wants to probably win this one for real. He's driving for Colleague Racing in their debut. They're going to have to race their way in.
Yep. All the open teams. They said the
Right.
cars with the asterisks is the open cars.
Yeah, I
One.
see. Then moving on, Chris Buescher in his debut for Roush from Racing. Although he's had connections with Roush before, he's never driven a cup race for Jack Roush.
No.
He won the championship for the.
See how the experience is.
Well, at least Chris Buescher won the title in 2000 and
Hello, do you hear me? Is my mic on?
yes, it is.
Yes.
Okay, good.
So 2015, remember, Chris Buescher won the Xfinity title 2015 for
Right.
Roush.
So he's in the seat that Ricky Stenhouse drove to victory.
Now you're on mute. Joseph, you're on mute.
Mute again.
He's tough. Wow.
Just shook it to the wall. Just like
Yeah, man.
let's go.
This
Just
is
shook
why
it
we
to the
need
damn wall.
Armani, we need you.
We need you, Armani.
Yeah, you're gonna make Daniel cry.
I
soon.
swear, it's killing me.
Yeah, your mic's like
Okay, so Kyle Busch, let's get back into him for a moment. Okay, he's come so close to, he's had many close calls winning the Daytona 500. The question marks have been floating around. He's done everything successful there is to NASCAR, but win the Daytona 500. Could this be the year? And so has the number 19, Martin Truex Jr. He's done almost everything in NASCAR, but win the Daytona 500.
Yeah.
Eric Jones finished third of the 1-2-3 finish for Joe Gibbs Racing last year. Matt DiBenedetto surprisingly led the most laps in 2019, driving for Levine Family Racing. It's his debut for the Wood Brothers.
Yep.
That's gonna be a storybook if he wins any
for sure.
race.
It also, remember, it'll be 100th win for the Wood Brothers. Wood Brothers were looking for win number 100.
And now on this list, of course, we have Joey Logano, the winner from 2015 in Team Penske. Number 24, last year's pole sitter, William Byron in Hendrick Motorsports. I have a prediction saying he's going to win a race in 2020. I just don't know if the Daytona 500 will be that one. Who knows? Reed Sorensen is the number 27 for Premium Motorsports. He'll have to race his way in, most likely. Corey LaJoie for Go Fast Racing had that really absurd paint scheme last year with his face on the car.
I still find it funny.
Also, you also know about Go Fast Racing. Remember, they have an alliance. They have some things of Stuart Haas, so they're not going to be.
It could be a little faster though.
Yeah, but if they're a little faster, people say Corey LaJoie's trash. He finished 6th at Dover in the JGL Racing car, which is bad. Corey LaJoie has talent.
He's got what it takes. Let's move on down the list. Speaking of forwards, we go to another one here. We have Michael McDowell for Front Row Motorsports. He was pretty significant when it comes to the drivers that had a chance on winning last year. Then David Reagan, his semi-teammate, I say that because it's under the Rick Hurt Racing name, even though it's number 36, and fielded by Front Row Motorsports. The car is going to be under the Rick Ware Racing name.
Yep.
Ryan Preece, in his second season with JT Giardi Racing, they switched numbers. He's in 37 now. John Hunter Nemechek, a rookie, will be in the number 38 for Front Row Motorsports full time. He's definitely shown what it takes in the few races he's ran last year. Rookie Cole Custer for Stuart Haas Racing. And then, of course, Kyle Larson, who almost won the Daytona 500 3 years ago.
You're on mute again.
Dude,
Oh my god. Yeah.
It's
I-
getting one of those nights.
My mic, it's
yeah,
getting.
it really has been one of those
Hey,
nights, man.
And
Make sure
Joseph,
everything's plugged in very tightly.
It is. It's just
but it's like Joseph
my
says,
mic.
I'm gonna buy a new mic, and he doesn't do it.
Yeah,
I'm definitely doing it this time.
What happens if it happens every like?
and now Armani and now Austin's on mute.
He chose to be mute. He stepped
Yeah.
away.
That would be bad. He's just.
Oh, he's there. I didn't even see. He's got a striped shirt going
But
there.
like,
Let's see. We were talking about Kyle Larson there.
Yeah.
Bubba Wallace finished second 2 years ago, driving for Richard Petty Motorsports. Moving downwards, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. first time in NASCAR not in a Roush Ford for JTG Doherty Racing.
Ian's favorite driver.
Ian and Perez 48, if you're watching this, I'm sorry.
Dude, get on here.
we gotta get him on as a guest one of these times.
Yes, man.
Let's see. Jimmy Johnson
Oh boy.
looking for Daytona 500 win number 3. Can he do it?
Yes, he can.
Moving downwards, we go to a number 49 Toyota for Carl Long's team, Chad Fincham in number 49. And then we go to the Rick Ruhr Racing trio, Joey Gaze in number 51. Yes, Joey Gaze was on with us back in December. So go check that out on our channel.
Hey,
Number
you know-
52 is a TBA driver, but I'm kind of putting my money down that will be Cody Ware.
But you know the 52?
Yeah.
It's actually supposed to be Yaley in the 52.
He's showing
54.
54 right now.
But that's J-Ski, but in the season, Rick Ware said Yaley was going to drive 52.
We'll have to see, but from what I
I-
know, it's going
I
to be
think-
Yale in the 54 and probably Cody Ware in the 52
But
or
how?
BJ McLeod. It's
Well, I
probably
haven't
going to be one of those two drivers.
BJ McLeod
Let's just go on and see what else we have. Brendan Gaughan
in the 60.
in the number 62. He made the race last year, and especially after what happened at Talladega, he's going to work twice as hard to win
Yeah.
at Daytona, knowing that
Only
he's
the
going
Super
to
Speedways,
leave.
and that's his career.
Yeah. Timmy Hill for Carl Long is going to have to fight hard. He drove the car that Joey Gaze DNQ'd in last year for Carl Long, number 66. Ross Chastain in the number 77 for Spire Motorsports. They won the last time at Daytona with driver Justin Haley behind the wheel. Then, of course, you have Alex Bowman, the 2018 pole sitter. Christopher Bell, rookie, driving the car that led the most laps last year for Levine Family Racing Toyota. And Daniel Suarez making his first appearance for the Gaunt Brothers Toyota team.
They have to race.
And then, of course, one last entry is for Jonathan Bird's Racing James Davison. They still haven't announced what the car is going to be like. And
the number and the manufacturer.
so we have 44 entries here for 40 spots. This will be a very competitive Daytona 500.
Yes, indeed.
Wait.
Yeah, don't remind me the time where it was actually, I think, less than whatever, and all drivers made it. We need to have some like. I miss the days when it used to be like 60 cars. I think.
Yeah, when I
at
started
least.
watching NASCAR in the mid 2000s, there were like 50, 60 cars, even just on a weekly basis.
Damn,
But, you know,
man.
I'm very excited. This is a good sight to see. But when Daytona 500 has this competition, you throw in drivers here that are not locked in the race. Guys like Justin Haley, Brendan Gaughan. I mean,
Joey Gase.
Joey Gaze. Then you got Daniel Suarez, Chad Fincham. We got two guys for Carl Long here trying to make the race. James Davison.
Like,
Throw in Reed Sorensen, a veteran. Who's going to be in this race? I don't even know.
But do you want to know what's also interesting I was looking at? Timmy Hill has 92 Cup starts, no Daytona 500 starts. He has one DNQ in the 500. Never raced the 500. He's raced 92 other Cup races, but the Daytona 500.
He's definitely gonna work twice as hard then.
He DNQ'd in 2017, driving the number 51 for Rick Ware Racing. That's his only attempt in the 500. Every other year, he just drove the other races when Bob Labonte drove. He basically drove the 32 in all the other races when Bob Labonte was running the restrictor plates. So,
Right,
yeah.
and that would be probably Bellani's last year. Speaking of which, congratulations, he's now in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So I think we have a lot in store for the Daytona 500. Let's make some few predictions here. We can make a prediction for our front row. Let's talk about that. Who will be the front row? So of this 44 entries that I've listed, 42 of them will be competing for positions in the Gatorade Duel. I know I said Gatorade Duel. I get it. Who will be in the front row for the Daytona 500? Let's get two drivers. I'm going to start off with my predictions. This is going to be a fairly understandable one. William Byron, Denny Hamlin.
Nice. You know what? I'm gonna have to say the opposite. Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin.
I see that.
You know? And honestly, my pick to win the 500 is Kyle Busch. Austin, you're gonna hate me if I say this, man.
He's already shaking his head. I saw that.
Nah, it's all good.
Okay.
But yeah, man, I'm about to get my pick out of the way. Kyle Busch is winning the 500. It's about time. It's about time.
I don't
He's
even
a
have a
two-time
Daytona-
champion now.
I don't even
He
have a
was
Daytona
so
500
close.
prediction. I'm waiting till pole qualifying's over to make that prediction.
Okay,
next
all
week.
right.
Don't know.
Chase Elliott, William Byron. Enough said.
My
That's
front
doable.
row. My front row is totally good, I hope. Alex Bowman and Matt DiBenedetto on the front row.
Wow.
Bowman
Whoa.
DiBenedetto second.
Benedetto.
Yep.
Okay.
DiBenedetto
Not gonna lie,
second.
all your predictions,
know-
including yours, Justin, look very good to me. I think we're
You
gonna
know
see
what?
something like that.
I actually kind of like your predictions, Justin.
Matty D brought
Benedetto. Now that he's with Wood Brothers Racing, which
Yeah.
is an alliance with Penske, have definitely got a shot
Makes zero
So-
difference.
to actually be on pole now.
Do you know what? At least Armani's not here because do you know what Armani would have said? Chad Fincham and Timmy Hill on the front row. Because
Armani, if you're watching, just take
Get
notes.
on here, man.
Get your
Armani-
ass on here.
Get
yeah,
down on
we
it.
need you on here.
Armani's probably gonna say Chad Fincham's the 2020 champ. He said he was the 2019 champion.
Yeah, I remember that when he started second because of owner points for some odd reason. They put him out there
Because the reason why they took the
because
40
Carl Long bought the got the points from
Ganassi
Chip Ganassi. They finished
That's
second in
why
owner
we-
points.
Yeah, that he started second 3 times. But if I just realized if the 42 was first in owner points, the 42 would have been on the pole. Chad Fincham would
Yeah,
have
they
won.
would.
Yeah, but that would.
But
be
I think, like, in all honesty, they like they're gonna fight to get into this 500.
Yeah,
It's no joke. You know, the duels are going to be very intense. I think they were intense last year. We saw this with Brendan Gaughan and Joey Gaze, even the start of the duel too.
they were side
but-
by side. They were side by side for multiple laps. But Brendan
It's important.
But
they-
Brendan Gaughan got help. Remember, Brendan Gaughan got
Guys
help.
like
But
Justin
Should be
Haley,
great.
yeah, Justin Haley,
Brendan Gaughan,
also
James
had-
Davison. These are
Reed
names that
Sorensen.
are big names.
Reed Sorensen. And
Reed Sorensen. Throwing Chad Fincham, a one-off deal.
You have Timmy Hill. That's never made a 500. He's raced
These
92
dual go
cars.
homers. I mean, I'm going to list them down for the next podcast when we get into them and preview the duels. And I'm also contemplating on doing a podcast after the duels on Friday morning. So you guys take a vote on World Racing Media. I'm going to make a post on Twitter. You guys just take a vote on whether we should have a 2-part podcast next week. One before the duels on Monday night, just like now, and one after the duels on a Friday morning before the Daytona 500 races begin. So that I'm just thinking, you know, what we could do on that day. I want to do something special for episode 45. I think personally, this is going to be the best Daytona 500 of the last 10 years, from 2010 to 2020.
Yeah.
2020 is going to be the best one.
Yeah. because some of the 500s have been lackluster. Like
Should be good.
2015 ended under yellow, and there was single file at the end, which I hated. 20 when Joe Logano, literally it was single file. We knew he was gonna win if the caution would have came out or no caution. Logano would have won.
Or you put in 2018 when we only had 40 cars, barely 40 cars enter,
Yeah.
and it was kind of just like it's like
29
why?
2019 last year, people started people saying that RCR told NY Racing Team and Obaika to not enter the 500,
Which is absolutely false.
No, they withdrew because they didn't have enough money.
Exactly.
Tanner Berryhill would have raced.
The speculations that were made last year that lasted like 2 days were fan made.
Yeah, like the 7 car.
Dear fans on social media, please do better.
And
behave.
Yes, man.
Yep, people have to behave.
Sometimes I mean I shouldn't be going like this on the podcast, but sometimes I wish people have to take license tests before they are allowed to post publicly on their social media accounts, like especially on Twitter.
Yes, man.
Yeah, license tests. I learned from Judge Judy.
Well, remember about Ray Black Jr. in the
She said that about 2 bad parents once on her court case, saying, "Oh, this is why parents should take license tests before they're allowed to have kids," or like something like that.
But you know what's weird? I actually
go on, Justin.
About you were saying about that. People were making vape jokes about Ray Black Jr. when he blew up at Homestead because the car was smoking. He said, "Oh, he smokes in the car when he races." I'm like, oh,
I actually remember that. It was pretty funny.
Yeah,
it was the only caution of that race besides stage yellows.
People thought it was Cole Custer that blew up. Remember?
Yeah, like everyone had a heart attack. Well, oh no, it's Custer.
Rick Allen thought it was because it was a white car, and they saw 07. Ray Black Jr. in the grass with a blown engine. But like, yeah, it's going to be interesting, Daytona. But we still have the ARCA race to preview, which is the only big event.
Yeah, we're going to get into that now. I'm just actually looking for...
I posted...
For
the entry list is weird because it says half the cars are withdrew, which is not true.
Paste it on StreamYard for me.
You're going to see this random thing, which I'm confused by. Let me go find the entry list because it's not right if it's...
ArcaRacing.com has a complete new layout on their website. I just got onto it.
Yeah, because literally they...
Oh, I actually found an entry list on their website.
Does it show...
Oh, it redirects you to Racing Reference.
It's on Racing Reference, but you're going to see half of them, it's going to be in green, which it's not supposed to be. It's basically saying half the fields withdrew, but...
It's fine. I'll just read right through it.
I wrote the entry list I had earlier before they put that on my Facebook.
So I'm just going to go ahead and take a look at it.
Yeah. Like...
So here it is. We're gonna have we have 25 cars.
25.
Yeah.
I wrote.
If you have 33, just send it to me on
like on my Facebook there was 33 at the time, which were in the five. There's 33 cars on my on my Facebook page. Not Facebook. On my Facebook, when I wrote the entry list, Racing Reference had 33 entries.
Here we go. I'm just gonna read off your list because it sounds more credible.
Yeah, there's not half people withdrew. Yeah.
So yeah, we have for number 0. We got Conrad Galapagos for Wayne Peterson, John Ferrier for Hillenberg, Andy Stice in Our Motorsports, then a TBA driver for James Bryant, Willie Mullins driving him for himself, Haley Diggin for David Gilliland, Tim Richmond. Not the Tim Richmond that we know from the NASCAR Hall of Fame, but Timothy Richmond, driving for Wayne Peterson.
Full time.
Eric Cardell in his own car. Then we have Sean Corr and John Corr's number 8. Another driver without a name announced driving for Chris Hour. Thomas Brader driving in his own number 9.
10.
Number 10, Ryan Huff and Chuck Hires, Jason White, 10, 11, and 12, all driving for Andy Hillenberg.
Yep, Andy Hillenberg actually has 4
and his wife, Michelle, because Michelle Hillenberg also owns number 01.
Yeah,
they have a lot of investment in the ARCA series, if you noticed. Um, Bill Venturini's rookie, Drew Dollar, number 15.
Yep.
Then you have Tanner Gray and David Gillen's number 17. Riley Herbst and in the Gibbs number 18. Ryan Repko for Billy Venturini. Connor Hall and the Chad Bryant 22.
Yep.
Brett Holmes and Stacy Holmes number 23. Michael Self and the Venturini 25. David Gravel, who comes from Dirt Track Racing, who we'll see in the Truck Series this year, driving for Mike Bursley. Dominic Van Veeregen, Canadian driver, driving for Mark Reddy. Gus Dean and Kevin Sawinski. Brad Smith in his own 48. Natalie Decker driving in a Ken Schrader number 52. J.J. Pack in his own number 61 car. Dave Maynard III driving in Paris Wixon's number 63. He won the 1978 Snowball Derby.
Yep.
Scott Melton driving in Kimmel's 69 car, while Jacob Hefner driving in Chad Bryant's 77. Chuck Buchanan Jr. driving in his own number 87. Scott Reeves driving in his own number 88. And Jason Kitzmiller in the number 97 Cody Warbar machine.
I remember once they had 33 drivers. I may be confusing with another entry
33.
list.
I'm reading off Justin's list.
Yeah, because
Racing Reference doesn't have the right entry list.
I could tell you that because it said there was 51 entries with half of them withdraw. I'm like,
And now it says there's 25. That doesn't make sense.
the 25 at Daytona is not a good entry list. And also, it said there was Haley Deegan withdrew, which that's false.
That does not make sense.
Because she's running for the championship. Yeah, like the ARCA entries, like we only have about ARCA guys. We only have there's only 4 full-time drivers, which is Haley Deegan, Drew Dollar, 25 of Michael Self, and Tim Richmond, which Tim Richmond is not winning the championship for Wayne Peterson. Probably the only driver that I think that's possible to win. The only other possible driver. Hey, by the way, I think if Armani would be here, he would say Tim Richmond would win the championship, but
Right, knowing his logic.
he's driving for Wayne Peterson, which, if you don't know Wayne Peterson, his cars are not fast.
They're pretty slow.
Yeah,
So let's talk about our ARCA predictions. Who's going to win the Daytona 200? Who will win this race? I know, reading off your list,
it is hard.
this is pretty interesting. You could take an easy pick. I'd say Riley Herbst could be an easy prediction. Maybe Michael Self. I don't know who beyond Michael Self or Riley Herbst could win this race, to be honest.
Like, there's so many good drivers.
I mean, there's a lot of mediocre drivers too, and drivers that are new to Daytona, like Haley Deacon. I'm not going to go fast to breaking her.
Yeah,
I feel like she can win another race, but Daytona's not one of them. As for Tanner Gray, I don't know about him either.
yeah, like
My prediction is going to be Michael Stuff because I feel most comfortable with him.
I'm trying to think.
Mhm.
No.
Tomorrow scored 1-1.
I was up. Trying to think.
Do you think Michael Self is too easy of a prediction?
This other driver's in.
Back. Is that a little quieter?
Oh, there's.
Come on, make up your mind.
Got my pick. This driver runs 5 races for Venturini. Driver of the number 20, Ryan Repko, is going to win at Daytona.
That'd be a very interesting victory. So we got 2 Venturini predictions. Austin, let's hear yours for the Daytona 200. Who's going to win the ARCA race?
Well, It's gonna be. It's. I still find it's a little disappointing that first time in God, it's gotta be like 25 years, maybe 30 years that there's no Bobby Gerhardt. Even the last few years, he hasn't been that very lucky with finishes. But I, f- I don't know. I mean, basically, any of the people that we know that could win have a chance because of how the cars are. But let me double check. So let me see what I was gonna say.
The Racing Reference
I have no
interested
idea
to look
why,
in.
but I'm gonna think Drew Dollar with Bill Venturini.
So we both have, all three of us have a Venerini prediction gone well, and it's an easy one because they are one of the best cars out there. I think you're not wrong on there, Drew Dollar, and then of course Ryan Repko. And I'm going to go with Michael Self.
Well, no, I just
Yeah,
realized.
now it's up to 30 cars right now on the entry list. What did they
Justin
add?
has the 33 list.
Yeah.
Yeah, refresh it.
These. Hey, also about I was saying. Hey, also about I was saying about the. I just realized Venerini won in 2017 and 2018. No.
I can't
Uh,
even count how many times they
two,
won.
2018 and 2019. I meant. I think because 2017 was Austin Terrio, 2018 was Michael Self, 2019 was Harrison Burton
Harrison
in the
Burton.
20 car. So 2020, maybe they could go 3 wins in a row for Venerini at Daytona.
Yeah.
Huh. Hey Joseph, you usually don't get a. Usually, for a K&N East race, we don't get many entries. We got 20 so far, but
Wow.
that's gonna be next week because that race is on a Monday the 10th, February 10th, the day of the podcast is the K&N, like Arkham
Yeah,
and
New
our
Smyrna Beach, Florida is basically about like a 20-minute drive from Daytona.
no, I almost said K&N E Series, the Arkham Menard E Series. I meant
Yeah.
sorry people, don't start typing that I'm stupid and stuff. No, Arkham Menard E Series. Yep, we'll have some ARCA drivers in it. Some some drivers. Ben Kennedy's gonna enter a car with Daniel Dye. I'm just looking a little bit. David Gillen will have cars. Haley Deegan's not running in it, I guess. Yeah, yeah. And also about Daytona, guys, you gotta tune into the races. Also, there was also just guys, if for people that just that don't watch that oval racing because people say it's boring, go watch the Champ Car Endurance Series, 14 hours at
Or
road
go racing it yourself.
with a Chevy Cavalier, but it's not recommended. But just check that out on their YouTube channel. I don't know what day it is. It says the 7th to the
14
9th.
hours of road in Atlanta.
It's probably on Saturday. It's probably on a Saturday. I literally put unknown time because it doesn't say the start time, so I put unknown time Eastern because it's in Eastern time because it's in Georgia. So if you want to check that out, go on their YouTube
All
channel.
right, we are running out of time, so let's give our final thoughts on this podcast before we let off.
Guys, tune in
That's
to the
fine.
races. Tune into the ARCA race on Fox. Not Fox.
FS1.
FS1. Tune into the Tune into the Daytona 500 qualifying on Fox on Sunday, and tune into the Clash on FS1. And also for next Monday, guys, if you have NBC Sports Track Pass, tune into the Arkham Menard E Series race from New Smyrna. Yes, it's on a Monday. I don't know why, but people like weekly races, so you should check that out too.
All right, guys, I think that wraps up episode 44 of the podcast. We're going to have a very interesting one next week. Definitely tune in and make sure you like our channel, subscribe,
Yeah.
follow our social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Yep.
You know the deal. For my
Oh.
colleagues, Daniel Ford, Austin Plant, and Justin Hebert, I'm Joe Andy Pavlon signing off. See you next week.
Bye.